Steve Kooner here, MLA for Richmond, Queensborough. I'm proud to stand here in support of Kerry-Lynne Findlay for the BC Conservative leadership. And there's numerous reasons why I support Kerry-Lynne. At this time, we need strong leadership. Kerry-Lynne has experience. She was the caucus whip for the federal Conservatives. And in addition to that, she served as a cabinet minister for the Harper government. And we need strong leadership at this time. I represent Richmond, Queensborough, and private property rights is so fundamental. It is the biggest issue, not only for my riding, but for this province right now. And we need strong leadership that has the leadership to understand the legal complexities. Kerry-Lynne's a longtime lawyer, and she personally fought as a lawyer and in her personal capacity the Musqueam land lease dispute. And she took that case all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada and won. And at this time, we need somebody that understands the legal complexities to deal with the private property rights in this province. And in addition to that, we need somebody that can really advocate for victims in this province. We are seeing victims being victimized over and over again, whether it's public safety issues or whether it's dealing with the system itself. We see victims in the collision aspect, for example, seriously injured, that are being victimized by the system. And Kerry-Lynne, as a former president of the Canadian Bar Association BC branch, fought for victims' rights in the 90s, fought to make sure victims were protected. And we need that at this time. In addition to that, we are seeing ideology being forced in our education system. We need to return to fundamentals in our education system. We need to get rid of SOGI 1, 2, 3. We need to make sure our kids are getting the fundamental education that they need to have success into the future. We need a strong, reliable, conservative leadership. And I believe Kerry-Lynne provides that.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate your support. Steve and I have known each other for many years as professional colleagues in the practice of law, and also as people who have both been very active in the community and standing up for others. So I really do appreciate your words today. I agree, this is not a time for experimentation. This is not an entry-level position we're talking about, leader of the Conservative Party of BC and taking the fight in the next election to win government against the very ideologically driven, incompetent David Eby NDP government. Some of the most important areas that Steve has touched on are very important to me, and he knows that. We've discussed these at some length. But let's just talk for a moment about the private property rights issue. I was involved in the Musqueam leasehold dispute. That did go to the Supreme Court of Canada. I was part of that team, but not just part of the litigation team. We won that case. You have to know how and when to fight, and you need to win those fights. When it comes to your riding, Steve, I mean, that's right in the middle of the storm right now with the Cowichan decision, where the judge said very plainly that neither the federal government nor the provincial government took any position at all in this crucial issue of which of these land rights has supremacy. We have to look at this differently as government speaking on behalf of the Crown in British Columbia. We need to fight for all British Columbians, so that whatever the future holds, it's fair for all of us. On SOGI, I do want to mention that for a moment, because I think our children are very underserved by a government that puts ideology ahead of the basics of learning, math, science, true history, not revisionist history. History we can learn from, but true history. The trades, we need to do more to make our children competitive. You know, this is a beautiful province. We all love BC. That's why we're here serving in these capacities. But people are leaving our beautiful province, and particularly British Columbians under the age of 40. because they feel they can't afford to live here and they feel this is not a place where they see their future. We must turn that around. We can. We need to unleash our natural resources. No more buying LNG from Australia in Atlantic Canada. We should be supplying that. We need to open up our sawmills again. We need to get people working. And we need those paychecks to count for more. And we can do that by leaning out government and bringing taxes down, including the tax on gas, which is 44 cents a liter in a couple of years. I've already said we'll get rid of that. So we need focus, we need hardworking, knowledgeable people, and this team will win the next election. If you like my leadership skills, please go to findlayforbc.ca, take out a membership, please donate whatever you can, and let's win this.